So after 365 days, or probably like 3 years of J-News hating on David Finlay, swearing up and down he's leaving the company every time his contract expires and then he re-signs, we finally got a farewell. We finally got a curtain call. So finally, J-News was right. David Finlay is leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. The floor is yours, J-News. Go ahead and brag. You were finally right.
I don't like to brag at the end of the day, but here's what it comes down to, right? Yesterday's show was billed as Hiromu's going away thing. And it got emotional in there for Hiromu and things of that nature. And, appropriately so. But during that Callum Newman versus David Finlay match, I said to myself, man, why is David getting his ass beat the way he's getting his ass beat? And it dawned on me. I was like, is this it? Is this it? Match ends, Callum wins, and we'll get to that. And then you see David Finlay get all emotional. He hugs Kato. He goes over to Hiromu at the commentator's desk and stuff like that, shakes his hand and all that, looking at the cerulean blue, looking at the lion mark, and I'm like, this is it. This is finally it. He is leaving. And not that I'm vindicated, because 3 years, it just took too long for this to happen at the end of the day. I'm not too sure as to what the word on the street is about David Finlay and where he's going. Hopefully he goes somewhere where he'll be used in a way that he likes. But for all intents and purposes, the kid did good in New Japan. Not gonna lie. He stuck it out when others didn't. And I got to give him credit for that. Still to this day, I don't consider him the boss dog, because it's just my perspective where he just never felt like the boss of anything from a character standpoint. But like I've always said, I've never taken anything away from his in-ring ability and what he's been able to do.
Oh, yes, you have, you damn liar. This is some straight BS. I'm not... It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our NJPW, the new beginning in Osaka 2026 review, where we are breaking down last night's show from New Japan Pro Wrestling, where so much went down. You had the Knockout Brothers and RoughStorm putting on an instant classic. You had Andrade El Idolo continuing his Wrestler of the Year campaign, becoming the #1 contender for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. You had the never openweight 6-man tag team titles once again nearly stealing the show themselves as that division continues to have a great start to the year. And then you had the ups and downs of New Japan Pro Wrestling, where Gato was Gato and temporarily buried Aaron Wolf with a squash. You also had Jake Lee being Jake Lee in the main event and disappointing a whole bunch of people with his performance. And of course, you had the touching farewell of Hiromu Takahashi and the apparent goodbye of David Finlay. So much for us to discuss and break down. And of course, to do that, I am joined by my main man, 100 Grand. He is the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. And he is the man who predicted David Finlay would leave New Japan Pro Wrestling about 18,000 times over the last year and a half. He is J-News. How are you feeling, J-News?
How am I feeling? I'm feeling like yesterday's show overall was a good show. But there are some things I would like to that we're going to discuss that were very particular to me while I was watching this stuff. And mind you, I'm on the East Coast. So I was watching it at the crack of dawn by the time it was over. Yeah, man. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Yes, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. You could drop a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. You can also sound off in the comment section. We love to interact with all of you guys, even if you're watching us on demand later on in the day or another day or in the future. We appreciate y'all if you spread your thoughts, what you thought about the new beginning in Osaka 2026 event. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you indifferent? Let us know in the comment section there. And of course, if you're with us live, you can be a part of this show. You can be a part of this review by sounding off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on the show, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Like what you like, just don't be a dick. And of course, we'll highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel and our rare review on the day of the show. We usually do it like the following day after the show, but we are doing it at the day of the show. You can let us know with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate your support. Like our main man, this is Genesis J. It's Magoop. X70 is the @. He says, crying while going to sleep is difficult. It was a very touching and heartfelt, emotional goodbye to not only David Finlay, but also Hiromu Takahashi, especially at the end. And oh my God, Yuto Ice crying was one of the most, and breaking kayfabe crying was one of the most emotional and wholesome moments that I've seen from New Japan in a very long time.
Yeah, man. I didn't when he had when Hiromu was in the ring at the end of the show, and the entire time you saw Yuto Ice's back turned to what Hiromu was saying on the microphone. I was like, "What's up with this guy? He's being disrespectful to Hiromu right now. What's going on, man? You know, you got to let this stuff. You got to let the character go when the goodbyes are happening." And then eventually, when it all said and done, he turns around and he's he's blubbering, man. He's there crying it out, and I'm there like, what's going on here? And I'm like, what? I was like, interesting. Then
that was his senpai.
Right. Then to come to find out that he was his he was basically, he was his senpai. He was his mentor the whole entire time. He wrote a very nice heartfelt post on X about it that I ran into about an hour ago or so. And yeah, man, it only just takes one person to make you feel welcomed into a place that is foreign to you, especially for a guy like Yuto Ice coming into New Japan Pro Wrestling the way that he did. And Hiromu Takahashi was that guy for Yuto Ice, and for that to be the emotional moment that no one expected, it made it made for a much more special moment in that when it happened, should I say. And yeah, man, heartfelt goodbye to Hiromu. Don't necessarily know what Hiromu's future is going to hold, but he's on a mission, and hopefully he's able to complete that mission. The David Finlay thing, man. Yeah, I've been talking about this for years. I feel like he might have been close other years prior, but nothing came about. But now that he is gone from the looks of it, from a New Japan standpoint, especially as to where New Japan stands now, he's definitely going to be missed. He was one of the mainstay characters, and he brought a lot of intensity and ferocity in his matches, and his promos as well from time to time. And he was a unique character within the scope of it all, even though to me he wasn't very believable at the end of the day, but it is what it is there with that. It was also very telling at the end of the show when Yota Tsuji called out Unbound Co. No doubt David Finlay wasn't there, but neither was Gabe. No. Gabe Kidd, that is. So I'm not too sure because there was two things that stood out to me about Gabe Kidd last night. Great match between him and Andrade. We'll get there when we get there. But he came out the way he came in. He was in his black trunks and black boots. And at the end of the day, he didn't come out during the end of it all. So I'm not too sure as to what that signifies either. So that's something I would want to get a bit more of an explanation.
Maybe he had to go to Dynamite. Maybe he's trying to do the Hulk Hogan and try to have two matches in two different countries, even though Hogan really never did that. Gabe Kidd's going to try to achieve it.
Yeah. I forget where they are tonight, but
Ontario, California.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's 12 hours?
12-hour flight.
Yeah, 12 hours. I mean, yeah, that's cutting it close. So,
it is. It very much is. If he leaves when the match happened, it was around like just before 3 a.m. Eastern. So if he leaves, go straight to the airport. Maybe his flight is at like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
he'll get there by like 6 p.m. and then he has to go to the arena. Maybe that takes an hour. And then he'll be there just before bell time.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, if that's what that was, and cool, but like for me, like I said, I seeing him in his black trunks and his black boots yesterday was more of a signifying thing. So I'm not too sure as to what that was about per se as well. Good, nice interaction between Andrade and Yota Tsuji post show to set up the match that's coming for New Beginning in the USA here in Jersey on the 27th. So that'll be cool. But yeah, man, there's stuff we need to talk about. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a lot to discuss from this show, a lot to discuss as far as like the future of New Japan, what is working in New Japan, what's not working in New Japan, the booking follies, who's hot in the company right now. We're gonna talk all about it, break down this show along the way. So appreciate y'all for joining us. We got Zach Minger, who says National Make a Friend Day, SP3 and J-News. We got Volup, who is here to brag. He says, I hope the lesson was learned that I was right and I will always be right. Jake Lee is a bum. always was, always will be.
I mean, he's valid. You're allowed your opinion, brother. I respect it. But we'll talk about that match. I know SP3 wasn't a big fan of it either. At the end of the day,
Nope.
I've had my thoughts.
There was two kind of matches there. I was just like, yeah, this wasn't what I wanted on this show. Yeah, but on a 8-match card, if only 2 matches are making me feel like that, that's a good show. That's a very good show. I said at the end of the show I said it online, I'll say it here. I think it was a very good to great show, especially if you take out those 2 matches.
Yeah, I know the other match you're talking about because I think the entire New Japan fan base was pissed off about that. But and I'm not talking about the main event. So
no, it's Christopher here, Renderita, champion.
Yeah, that was just I don't even understand that decision. But hey, man, at the end of the day, it happened. They can't take it back. And yeah,
no, they cannot. No, they cannot.
We are here.
Valab says Yuto Ice isn't just a cool dude. He's achieved little bro status with me. He's become Danny to me. He says he hard shell with gooey inside. So there you go. We got Valab who also adds, I wouldn't read into it too much. Feels like Gabe has a dual contract. I think that J-News reads into everything. That's why he was calling for David Finlay to leave 2 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man. You got to read between the lines. You got to see what's there, context clues, and all that jazz. You know what I'm saying? If it might not come true today, it'll come true in 2-3 years, baby. That's what happens. That's how it goes down. I'm out here fortune telling, baby, soothsaying. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, I'll eventually be right. I'm telling you, I'll eventually be right. But yes, thank y'all for joining us live. Remember to drop the thumbs up on the video. We're gonna get into the show. As always, with our pay-per-view reviews, J-News, give me one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on the new beginning in Osaka.
I thought, because you always ask this, and I asked this to myself last night after the show was over, before I went to bed. Interesting is the word that comes to mind, because of what's up in the air, what's not up in the air, the matches themselves, right, and things of that nature. I think interesting is the word for me that encapsulates new beginning in Osaka.
My one word or phrase would be hopeful. Because I think that if this is New Japan kind of setting the bar for their new era, and we go back at the end of the year and we're like, New Beginning was one of like the lower end shows of the year, then 2026 is going to be one of the greatest years in New Japan Pro Wrestling history. Because like I said, like J-News said, he thought it was a good show. I thought it was a very good show. So if this is kind of the low bar for what we're going to get for the rest of the year, and we get like a strong New Japan Cup, we create a new challenger, some new people involved in the main event scene, some new people that can have a good to great matchup with Yota Tsuji, I think that we're in good shape, because I think that the tag team division is hotter and at the best that I think I've ever seen. I've been watching New Japan actively for the past, 15 years or so. And I've been covering New Japan Pro Wrestling since we started this channel back in 2018. And I think that this is the best that the heavyweight tag team division has ever been in that time. And you got the never openweight 6-man tag team titles, which was created around the time that we started this channel. And I think that's at the best that it's been in its whole entire duration as the championship's existence. So the fact that those two divisions are in a good space, the fact that we have a strong challenger for the secondary title that I could see having a good run with that title and kind of taking it away so Tsuji can only focus on the heavyweight division. As long as we can fix the heavyweight division, cut down on the BS in the never openweight division, and we can greatly improve the junior heavyweight division and get some more people into top positions, I think that New Japan is fine. These, like we said during the preview, I don't feel the same way about the departures of a Hiromu Takahashi, of a Evil, of a David Finlay that I felt in 2024 when Okada and Ospreay left. I don't feel like how I felt in 2019 when Omega, the Bucks, Cody, best friends, everybody left to go to AEW. I don't feel like, oh man, what's New Japan gonna do? Yeah, we got Okada, we got Tanahashi. Who they gonna do? Kota Ibushi, Will Ospreay, those guys stepped up at that time, and that made it better. But Jay White as well. And I don't feel like how I felt in 2016 before, Omega and Naito stepped up after AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Good Brothers left. I feel a lot hopeful. Hopeful is the one word that I had coming out of this show. And that's why I thought it was like, this was a very good show, especially for the people who worked really hard. There was strong wrestling throughout this card from the pre-show all the way until the semi-main event.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can't disagree with anything you said. I think Big Man Dogs brought it up in the chat just recently. That announcement about Dominion being on TV was, to me, was a big deal as well, because they're not prone to doing those sorts of announcements. It seems like President Ace is putting his imprint on New Japan now, especially with the way that he presented the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship as well during the main event, taking a page out of the CMLL book and things of that nature, and how they present championship matches and whatnot. And that particular announcement about them being on TV, it just gives people that buzz about, especially in Japan locally, gives people that buzz, and it lets them know that big things are coming and things of that nature. So looking forward to Dominion being a bigger show for New Japan Pro Wrestling this year as well. So that was a good shout. As to where New Japan's gonna go, am I worried? No, not necessarily. I'm still trusting the new generation of guys. I'm riding with them, and hopefully good things continue to come, specifically for Yua Uemura and Shota Umino after this tag match that they just had, another banger versus the Knockout Brothers and things of that nature. Hopefully things come and evolve for them as singles competitors, if they're not going to continue as a tag team, depending as to whatever New Japan decides to do creatively. And also, yeah, we'll get to the Aaron Wolf stuff when we get there. But
yeah, we got follow-up who brings up, I also we should bring up Good Business is Good. Got that broadcast for Dominion, so it will be a great show. Yeah, I mean, it's great that they sold out this show in Edion Arena. They've been doing great business to start off the year. The Road to New Beginning shows, the Kurgan Hall shows, did very good numbers. A couple of them were sellouts for Kurgan Hall. You had the sellout 46,000 at the Tokyo Dome. So back-to-back major shows of sellouts, and they had over 5,500 in the building at Edion Arena for tonight. But like you said earlier, like you said before, Nikki bringing up doing the Dominion announcement, then geeking out your top draw 5 minutes later was a choice. I don't think that Aaron Wolf is the top draw, but he is one of the top drawers. So yeah, that was a choice. Definitely a choice. But it is a Gato choice, to be fair. But let's get into quickly the pre-show. Pre-show had a tag team matchup of Young Lions going up against the New Japan Dads of Togi, Makabe, and Toru Yano, facing off with our departing Young Lions very soon. Shoma Kaito will be a part of the upcoming Fantastica Mania shows with CMLL, as he's going to be going over to Mexico with the rest of the gang when they leave Japan, and working in Mexico for his excursion. While this was Katsuya Murashima's final shows in Japan before he goes to excursion, we still don't have too much information on where he's going to go, but I thought they had a solid showing here. You had the Young Lions working together to try to take down Togi and Makabe. You had Yano using his usual Yano tricks, throwing the Young Lion into the exposed turnbuckles. You had Murashima and Makabe really going at it towards the end of this matchup, Murashima nearly getting the victory with the Boston Crab on Makabe, but Makabe would, of course, use his strength and to knock his block off with a King Kong lariat and an inside cradle, nearly got the victory for him. But then he was able to finish Murashima off following a DVD with the King Kong knee drop for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory for the New Japan Dads. This one was short and kind of to the point, so don't mind it at all. It just went over 8 minutes as the New Japan Dads pick up the victory here, but it was more about the farewell for Katsuya Murashima. I think he's really been kind of the leader of this current class of New Japan Young Lions. He's been the standout, the Young Lion Cup winner. So I expect to see some good things. I wouldn't mind him coming over to the States and maybe working with Tony Khan in like a Ring of Honor and getting his reps in there. I wouldn't mind him kind of getting the Tsuji route of traveling to a couple of different places. Tsuji, during his excursion, famously went to CMLL and worked in Mexico under Ultimo Guerrero. He had a long run in Ref Pro where they, the British fans were able to see him grow over there. And he was able to kind of get all those attributes and bring it back when he returned to from excursion in 2023, and instantly to someone like me, I was like, this guy's the star of the younger stars coming into New Japan. So I would love to see Murashima go that route. As far as this matchup, it was fine. I gave it 2.5 stars. What did you think about the match, and what do you think about the future for Murashima, who this was his final performances in Japan as a young lion before excursion?
I mean, it went as expected. At the end of the day, for me, I feel like still not knowing where Murashima is going to end up for excursion is a little bit not troubling, but it's just one of those things where I'd rather know where to go watch him than not necessarily, because I was able to follow Yuto and Oscar and freaking and Tsuji when he was gone and things of that nature, and Shota when he was gone. I was able to follow that, and obviously, not obviously. So for folks who don't know, I have one of those CMLL memberships, so I know I'm going to get to see Shoma Kato quite a bit. Yeah. So when he goes over to CMLL, so for me, it's like I said, if he stays local, if he just goes to Noah like Oiwa did, I don't, that's not a big deal to me. The Australia thing, I think somebody mentioned it here. That Super J Cast might have mentioned. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm the indie scene in Australia isn't as they don't put shows together as frequently as other parts of the world does. So the point of the excursion for the young lions is for them to continuously get more and more reps and things of that nature. So I'm not too sure how that would fit for Murashima in that sense. But from the match standpoint, like I said, it went as expected. Hopefully everything goes well for those two guys and they come back with big game feels, man, just like Tsuji did. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they come back with some good energy and interesting characters, and we'll see it from there. And it was interesting to watch the majority of the show, and I didn't necessarily notice the young lions around the ring the majority of the show. I from time to time I would see guys here and there, like Matsumoto was here, Shoma Kato was out there, but like they weren't around the ring as they usually are. And I thought that was interesting, especially now understanding that that was their last main show for those particular young lions and stuff like that. So yeah, man, good stuff for those guys. Rooting for them, and let's see as to what they bring back in the next, I would say, 18 months to 2 years while they're gone. So that's what I gotta say about that.
They did mention that Kaito is going to be facing Teton on the Fantastica Mania tour, so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to how he's going to see there, and kind of pushes to my agenda of him knocking off some weight so he can be a super junior.
Yeah.
We also post-match got a short moment of silence to honor the late Yasuda Tadao, who passed away on February 8th, 2026. That was a very nice kind of like tribute to one of the legends of Japan there. So a nice moment. Any words for the great Yasuda?
No, he was before my time at the end of the day. So I found out about it online. And it was interesting the way algorithms work and all that and whatnot. Like I saw the announcement of his passing, and then right under the announcement of his passing, I see a post from Noah, which had God damn, why am I freaking blanking on his name? One of the elder statesmen in Noah, Marufuji. There you go. Marufuji wheeled out Shinjiro Otani, former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion from New Japan. He had to stay in Noah as well. Shinjiro Otani has been in bad health for quite some time. He's been in a wheelchair for quite some time, and things of that nature. And he wheeled him out. And I was like, is my feet gonna turn into some real downtrodden stuff from here on out? But just hearing about his passing, at the end of the day, he was an older gentleman and stuff like that. So, death comes for us all. Not to make light of it and things of that nature, but he was well respected and well loved by those in New Japan who knew him. So that was a good moment and a nice moment for New Japan to do that for him and pay tribute.
So I just got some breaking news, not of New Japan quality, but of their partner promotion, AEW. Fightful Select just reported Private Party are All Elite still. Last year, Private Party had WWE interests amid rumors that their contract was coming up. Since then, the only real updates that they've heard were that their contracts may not match up exactly, and that they had been backstage at some recent AEW events. Over the last week, Fightful was asked about the status of Private Party with the mystery team, the wildcard team, on tonight's episode of Dynamite. They didn't get a specific answer on if they are the mystery team on Dynamite competing for a title shot. However, they were told that Private Party firmly remains under AEW contract and they're still with the company. When asking a number of sources about Private Party, everyone that they spoke to said that we could expect to see them in AEW before we would WWE. So for anyone who's hoping that Private Party is the wild card team, I guess that's good news.
Interesting, to say the least. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, they've been gone for a year. I was not expecting them to be the wild card team, but apparently that's been the talk online. I think the wild card team is going to be Edge and Christian.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world for it to be Cope and Christian at the end of the day, just from a story standpoint. I mean, if they're trying to, they have been trying to bolster the tag team division on AEW TV in recent times. So bringing in teams that you still have makes more sense to me, So hey, I hope to see Private Party back on TV, man. I know they've gone through some physical transformations, both of them. So
Mark Quinn, more Mark Quinn than Isaiah Cassidy.
Yeah. So we'll see as to how that plays out, if it plays out, as a matter of fact. And then we'll go from there. So interesting tidbit there from Fightful.
Yeah. And thank you, Fightful, for that information. But let's get into the main card on this show. You had tag team action to start off with our first two matches. First with the junior heavyweights. It started the theme of the night, which was Unbound Company versus United Empire, as we had Hiromu Takahashi in his final New Japan Pro Wrestling match, teaming up with Taiji Ishimori, his former longtime rival, now stablemate in Unbound Company, going up against United Empire's Francesco Akira and Jacob Austin Young. Early on, you had the heels. They cut off the fanfare for Hiromu. However, you had Ishimori and Hiromu working together, doing some tag team moves, double drop kick to a down JAY. You had Takahashi. He hits a big flying crossbody onto Akira and JAY at one point. He even, at another point, he uses the referee to do a ref rana as he spins spin the referee around, and he hits the Rana on, I believe it was Akira at one point. That was a great moment that got a big reaction from the crowd. You get Akira, he was getting some vicious chops from Hiromu throughout this matchup, and Akira was very aggressive. He showed that kind of heel tendency that he's been showing on the Road 2 shows throughout this matchup, and his animosity towards the stalwarts of the junior heavyweight division in Hiromu and Ishimori throughout this one. It came down to Ishimori and JAY in the ring, which could have told you what the result of this one was going to be. As they went at it for a bit, JAY looking close to get the victory for United Empire, but eventually it was Ishimori who brought him to the center of the ring. He locked on the bone lock despite an attempt to get to the ropes. He rolled him back to the center of the ring and made JAY tap out to pick up the victory. A surprise victory here, as we really thought with this being Hiromu Takahashi's final match in New Japan Pro Wrestling, we thought that Hiromu would take the fall. He would be looking up at the lights in this one, but instead we have Unbound Company going out to a 1-0 lead to start off this series of matches between Unbound and United Empire. A very touching kind of farewell for Hiromu in a way, for him getting the victory. Post-match, we did get Akira assaulting Hiromu at the end of the matchup, nearly pilmanizing his neck, but it was Robbie X who came out and faulted the concerto by Akira, fighting him off. Akira having to be pulled away by a couple of young lions and officials, while the members of Unbound Company got to celebrate with Hiromu, got to give him a proper send-off. He got a curtain call, a nice showing for Hiromu, who, you know, this was not the longest match on the card. This was quick, get in, get out. I give it 3 stars, a fine opener to the show. What did you think about this opener here, and Hiromu getting a nice send-off before he would join the commentary team, the Japanese commentary team, for the rest of the show later on?
Yeah, I appreciated the send-off for Hiromu here in this match. Like you stated earlier, SP3, I felt like, you know, they would just have Hiromu do business in this instance, taking the pin and whatnot, especially with how hot United Empire has been as of late, right? So just to feed off of that, that not happening, I don't think it threw off much on the show, but it was an interesting choice to start the show that way. The Francesco Akira angle at post-match, I think, is going to lead into more for Francesco Akira to get into now that he's probably going to be one of the leads in the junior division and stuff like that. So, you know, giving him more depth from a character standpoint and things of that nature, and having the Japanese crowd you know, give him heat for it and things of that nature. I mean, makes sense. So for all that, I guess it works. But yeah, it was a nice match. The ref Rana was an interesting touch there from Ref Kenta and stuff like that. And yeah, good enough match. Wasn't anything to write home about necessarily. JAY still seems to be lacking something. Is really all.
Yeah, he doesn't have the character that we've seen from Callum Newman, that we've seen from Great Okan, that we've seen from HENARE, that we see from Akira in this matchup. Nikki saying not giving Akira the win here was mind-blowing. I disagree with that. It was interesting that they didn't give the win to Akira here, but I feel like this is going to lead to Akira going a little bit mad, and singles victory is what Akira needs. Him and JAY as like a junior tag team, I don't think that was necessarily the goal and the build-up here. And he did get major wins on the Road 2 shows. He pinned Hiromu in a trios matchup. He pinned Ishimori in a tag team matchup with Tsuji and Jake Lee. And I agree with Big Man Dogs. He says, I mean, he wouldn't have as much of a reason to crash out if he won.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, it made more sense from a character building standpoint, in terms of Akira and things of that nature. So yeah, you know, it worked nonetheless. So
yeah, agreed there. We got Nikki who says feels like they also undid some of the work to bring JAY out of the pin eater role as well. I mean, he's still going to be the pin eater in like if it's a multi-man matchup and you're not putting Zane J, like you can't just have one guy who is the pin eater. Sometimes you need a couple of different guys in it because United Empire is such a big group. It's gonna be JAY or Zane J, and Zane J is not gonna be included in a lot of these matches, so it's gonna fall on him to lose a couple of these. And I don't think it kind of took him back anything that they've like any of the work, because they haven't done much work to get him out of that role really. Dustin saying JAY just screams pin eater. He doesn't have the in-ring nor character to make him stand out. I agree with that as well. I know commentary was talking about him possibly being part of the Best of Super Juniors, because that was his whole story last year when he wasn't included in the Best of Super Juniors tournament. He's going to have to do more as far as distinguishing himself from the rest of United Empire as far as character work and personality to get a spot in the Best of Super Juniors role, especially if they're going to have stars from like AEW or CMLL a part of this year's tournament.
Yeah, he's got to start standing out, and hopefully they do that within due time. If he's going to be part of the Super Junior tournament, if he ends up taking the freaking Yujiro Takahashi role where he's just not getting any freaking wins, like, what's the point, really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's the point? So,
Big Man Dog saying he's a fine carpenter, role player. Yeah. That's what he is for now. He's a role player in United Empire. He went from really young boy to pin eater. And that's I think there is a difference between that. They're like Unbound Company has Dake Nagai, who is not just like a pin eater. He's a young boy. He's the young boy of the group. Whereas Bushi, or like even in Unbound Company right now, you have Gato. Gato's a pin eater for Unbound Company. Bushi and LIJ, he was a pin eater. Like, though, there is different roles to play where you're going to be the one who takes the loss. And right now, JAY was promoted from young boy to now pin eater.
Yeah, that's all we got. That's all we got for JAY right now. He's eating pins. You know what I'm saying? He's not carrying bags anymore, but he's eating pins. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next up, we get tag team action as it is the War Dragons, Drilla Moloney and Shingo Takagi going up against United Empire's Great-O-Khan and HENARE. The United Empire were very vicious and nefarious. I was like watching this matchup and I was like, oh my God, Great-O-Khan, despite my kind of, my issues with his in-ring work, he does make a perfect bellend. Like, he is a perfect heel because he cheats. He's using chairs on the injured arm of Drilla. Drilla and Shingo coming into this matchup with their separate injuries, with Drilla coming in with the arm bandaged up. Of course, Shingo Takagi had taken the last couple of Road 2 shows off due to a rib injury suffered at the hands of Jake Lee and HENARE and Great-O-Khan. HENARE unleashed some hellish chops on Drilla Moloney. At times, this felt like this felt like a never open weight tag team matchup because you had the hard hits, you had Shingo and HENARE rekindling their rivalry with some lariats and neither man willing to back down. But it was really the teamwork of Shingo and Drilla Moloney that really stood out here. Them doing the Takagi time at the same time after hitting double team moves. Then in the end, they both hit their finishers with Shingo hitting the Last of the Dragon and Drilla hitting the Drilla Killer at the same time. And then they finished things off on HENARE with the War Dragon, their double team finish to get the surprise victory here. This was another one where I really thought that United Empire would sweep until the main event to continue their run. But I will say they were so dominant throughout the Road 2 shows that it did make sense with the way that they laid out these matches and especially the results with Unbound Company going 2-0 to start off the night with the War Dragons picking up the victory here. I like this match more than the opener, so I gave this 3.25 stars. I thought all four guys worked really hard to make this different from the fast-paced action that we saw in the opener. This was more hard-hitting, more physical than the opener here. But the big surprise was post-match, as we get a very emotional Drilla who gets on the mic. He actually speaks in full Japanese, showing that he has really kind of adopted the culture in such a big way over his, he spent like the last 3 years plus in New Japan Pro Wrestling and being in Japan. So he cuts this promo in Japanese and he announces that he has re-signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling. We know the news that came out from Fightful Select a couple of weeks back that David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, Clark Connors, and Drilla Moloney were all going to be free agents pretty soon. But we know that one of those war dogs are not going to AEW or WWE. One of them is staying in New Japan, Drilla Moloney, and I think this is such a sublime choice by Drilla. It was the right choice for him. He found something new and different, and that's inspired some of his best work in New Japan Pro Wrestling in World Tag League last year with this duo with Shingo Takagi, the War Dragons. They feel like a breath of fresh air to this tag team division that has been refreshed with the Knockout Brothers in the lead with RoughStorm, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura. You had Ishii and Taiji, and then you got the War Dragons. This tag team division feels more vibrant than ever, so I'm so glad that the War Dragons are going to be a part of it moving forward. And the emotion and the surprise look on Shingo's face, this was another wholesome moment in this show, because he I don't think he really knew, because that felt like a genuine reaction from him hearing that Drilla was staying with New Japan. So a great moment on this show. What did you think about the matchup and then the announcement by Drilla?
I thought the matchup was good for what it was. The standouts of the matchup to me were HENARE and Drilla. Just the physicality and stuff like that. HENARE looks great from an aesthetic standpoint now, and his physicality has always stood out to me. Drilla with his level of athleticism that he brings to his matches and his hard hitting ability as well. He's definitely one of those guys who, now that folks have chosen different paths, can definitely stand out as a foreigner in the New Japan, on the New Japan roster. Him announcing that he's going to be staying in New Japan was a surprise to me, but a welcome surprise nonetheless. They still need bodies over at New Japan, and for New Japan to offer him a contract was cool at the end of the day, and for him to accept it and take it. And now I feel like he's got to run with this whole tag team with Shingo or whatever they decide to do with Drilla, even as a singles competitor. I think it's definitely a good thing. And Shingo's reaction was priceless there. So I appreciated that as well. Okan, man, I don't know what to do with Okan no more, bro. I'll be honest, man. I don't know what to do with Okan no more. It's like he's best as a heel. He could be a very good Bellin heel. He just is nefarious, using steel chairs and stuff like that. He's not going to be the guy who puts on 5-star classic, who can get great matches. But in a tag team with HENARE, I think that's his role. Yeah, he's just for me at this current point in time, he's just there. Okan's just there.
That's the best he can do. That's the best he can do right now. And also, Drilla Moloney announced that he will be part of the New Japan Cup as well. So
that's right. He did announce that. Yeah.
One participant in New Japan Cup, which starts in March. So then we go to the third match on the lineup, our first title match of the show, J-News, as it was for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships. We got Bishamon as it's Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi teaming up with Boltin Oleg, the champions, as they defend against CMDK's Hartley Jackson, Roye Uyoa, and Zack Sabre Jr. You get Jackson and Boltin basically resuming their their hoss fight from the road to New Beginning in Kurgan Hall, where they just start colliding into each other early on in the early going. Oyowa would eventually come in, and he would get the better of Bolton for a little bit until Bolton was able to hit him with a gnarly looking belly to belly suplex. You get Goto coming in there as he goes after Zack Sabre Jr. The chemistry between Zack and Goto is so special, and love seeing them in the ring 1 year after their instant classic at last year's Osaka show for the New Beginning. We get a suplex by Goto onto on Sabre Jr. onto Oyowa. You get Goto's revolution. He tries to go for a couple of his key moves, but it's Oyowa who hits him with the discus lariat, laying him out. You get Yoshihashi and Zack. They continued their little rivalry from the road to New Beginning as they started going at it. I love the fact that we just basically got continuations of not just their previous never openweight 6-man tag team matchup, but throughout this matchup, we got the singles matches that we saw on the road to, and how the rivalry has become even more enriched due to those great matches that they had on that Kurgan Hall show. You get Jackson and Oyowa. They clear the way as they hit the locomotion in the corner on Yoshihashi. You get Bolton, who is able to be taken down by a Jackson huge senton. He hits one on Yoshihashi as well. We get some great double team moves by both teams throughout this one. In the end, they tried to take down Bolton with the arm ringers, but it was just a combination of Bishamon and their tag team work and their different tag team moves that really overwhelmed Hartley Jackson, who came into this one with a badly injured back from that brutal bump that he took in Kurgan Hall against Bolton Oleg after, crushing the lower back with the seats in Kurgan Hall. They really focused in on him towards the end, hitting him with great triple team moves, and eventually they put him down with the assisted Shoto with the big splash by Bolton Oleg, puts them away the same way they won the never openweight 6-man tag team championships in Kurgan Hall is the same way they retain here. And my lord, these two teams, man, give me more of this. I'm not done with this. This is the best rivalry right now. This is one of the best rivalries right now in all of New Japan. Bolton Oleg and Bishamon and TMDK, they don't miss, whether it's a 6-man tag team matchup, whether it's a multi-man matchup, whether it's one-on-one, they don't miss. They deliver great matches every single time, and this was a blast. This was all thriller, no filler. I gave this one 4 stars, our first great match of the show, in my opinion here. What did you think about TMDK versus Bishamonton 2?
Come on, Miss Makabe.
Man. I did not think this match was going to be what it was. First things first. It was way better than it had any business being, to be quite honest. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. Hartley and Oleg Bolton did their due diligence here, so I can't knock them for that. But retaining was the proper thing, because I hate the whole hot potato thing with the belts and all that jazz. Hey, Dolores.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it was a banger, and it was unexpected, and I appreciated it, and that's really all I got to say about that, to be honest. Hopefully they continue this run of good matches for the never openweight 6-man tag team championships. I wonder what the other team's going to be that are going to be coming up to face them. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we got Dustin who says War Dogs are definitely contenders for the tag team titles. Talking about War Dragons, not War Dogs, I think. He also says, well, the 6-man tag was very good, not as great as their first match, but delivered in a way that was still a good follow-up from them from before. Yeah, I gave their matchup on the Road to New Beginning show 4.5 stars. I thought that was splendid, just a splendid matchup, stellar work from all 6 men. But this was a very worthy sequel to that matchup. They didn't have as much time because, you know, the matchup on the Road to New Beginning show was a semi-main event. I think they got like 20 plus minutes for that matchup. This one was 12 minutes. It was compact. Like I said, it was all thriller, no filler. They worked really well with one another. The different matchups, whether it's Zack in there with Goto, and they just resumed their rivalry over the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, whether it's Zack and Yoshihashi and the desire of Yoshihashi to finally get a victory over Zack, whether it's Boltin Oleg in there with Hartley Jackson, and they're just having a plain old horse fight. You get Boltin and Oyawa. They go hard hitting against one another, being two graduates of the dojo in recent times. And then Goto and Oyawa have that vibe from their great main event in Kurgan Hall. So I just love all the different matchups. That's why I gave this one 4 stars. It was a great match to really start a trend of a good stretch in the show. I think the opening, like I said, the first 2 matches were at least decent to good. And then this one was great. This one really delivered to me. We got Dustin, who says, also, Gato better have Oyawa win New Japan Cup. I don't think Oyawa's winning New Japan Cup. I think someone else on this card is winning New Japan Cup. I think I did say on the preview who I thought was winning New Japan Cup, but I will repeat it again after his performance on this show and the dominance that he showed. I think we'll get into that when we get to his matchup. But Big Man Dog says, agreed, 3.75 stars. I thought this was a great undercard matchup that really tied into the tour, or tied together rather. And Christopher gives it 4 stars as well. So we're all around the same range on this one. But let's get into our next matchup. Not a title match, J-News, but a number 1 contenders match to determine who is the next challenger for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, as we have AEW's own Andrade El Idolo representing the Don Callis family, as well as United Empire, versus Gabe Kidd representing, I guess, AEW as well, the War Dogs, the Unbound Company, as well as the Death Riders, as they went at it. And this was another one that I just, from the minute go, I felt like these two guys were going balls to the wall. It took like, I think it was like 30 seconds into the matchup, they just start trading these hard forearms with one another. You get Kidd struggling a bit, but he found the opportunity to hit a power bomb. He taunted the United Empire member as he throws him into the ropes, and of course Andrade does his tranquilo pose, but then Kidd responds by sitting down like he's Katsuyori Shibata. At another point, he throws him to the outside. He hits the lariat on the apron. He looks like he's about to do a tope suicida, but instead he does the Naito lay down and does the tranquilo pose. They fight on the outside. We get some hard chops being traded from both men. We get Andrade driving Kidd into the ring post, and he hits this beautiful looking tornillo. I was like, Andrade is, this is what I tweeted out, Andrade is a top 10 best wrestler in the world right now. And he ain't in 10. He ain't 9. He ain't 8. He ain't 7. He ain't 6. He might not even be 5 or 4. He is really a top 3 wrestler in the world. The way he's been working to start off this year and the series of matches. Like, I still have to watch his matches that he did overseas over the weekend. But the Swerve matchup, the Kenny Omega matchup, and then this one here, he's been proven that he is a man on a mission. And like, rent is due for most people, alimony is due for Andrade El Idolo right now. We get Kidd with a rebound lariat. They started trading some hard strikes once again. Idolo, he gets into control. He hits a drop kick and the double knees in the corner, and he gets a near fall. Kidd counters the DM on a couple of occasions, one time reversing it into a great looking power driver. He gets a near fall on that one. Idolo is able to hit his beautiful looking double moonsault, where he misses the one off the top rope and then hits the standing moonsault. Just the agility, the athleticism, the whole look. He has that great combination of agility and strength in a way that's unlike anybody in pro wrestling right now. Loved, like you said earlier, Gabe Kidd coming out in the young lion gear, and he had very much a young lion energy to him. That energy that he showed, that grittiness that he had when he first came into New Japan. He fought with that against Andrade here. They would start trading some hard strikes towards the end of the matchup until Andrade goes for his big boot, but he misses it on purpose to hit the wicked looking elbow to the back elbow, and he completely knocks out Gabe Kidd with that. He picks him up, hits the DM. 1, 2, 3. Andrade El Idolo defeats Gabe Kidd, and he is the #1 contender for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. I thought this was a straight up banger. Like I said, balls to the wall from the minute go. Andrade has just been so inspired with his work. He just has that energy to him that he is out here to prove a point, to prove that he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I thought that he brought that out of Gabe Kidd. I was glued to the screen the entire time. This was full throttle, all action throughout. I think it only went just over 12 minutes, but it was all energy the entire time. Another match that I gave 4 stars, back-to-back great matches on this card. What did you think about Andrade versus Kidd?
You know, I'll say this about this match. Like I said, I read it, like, you know, I'll read into it, whatever I read into it at the end of the day. But hold on, son.
All right. But yeah, we got in the comments here a couple of people talking about the matchup. Dustin, Christopher agrees. He gives it 4 stars as well. We got Dustin who says this match was great, but for me, it felt like Gabe was missing something. He wasn't as locked in as like his Tsuji match from last year at this time, but he's not the same guy. I don't know what happened between him getting hurt in the G1 or him going back and forth between AEW and New Japan and joining the Death Riders, kind of hurting his momentum in Japan. But it's been missing for a while. It hasn't been something. I thought that he had the energy here, though. He brought the physicality that he needed in this matchup. So that's why I enjoyed this matchup so much. We got Big Man Dogs who says the layout for this match was interesting because Andrade pretty much dominated this matchup, suggests Andrade will be in NJPW more. Yes, I believe that.
I definitely agree with that. But to end my sentiments on the match, I agree with what you're saying about him being top 10 in-ring performers right now. Like the run he's been on since he came back to AEW has been crazy. To speak on Gabe though, like I was saying before, like something about not that he's been, I don't know, something about yesterday's match gave me this idea that something's up at the end of the day. And as to what that thing is, I don't know. But to your point, SP3, like he still did bring the physicality. Gabe was being Gabe. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but like there was like his overall energy that he usually brings wasn't there. Like it wasn't at 100. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not too sure as to what that had to do. Maybe he was emotional about David leaving. I don't know. You know, maybe emotions took over. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't pan out the way that he wanted, or the way that we are used to him conveying it on screen. But I thought the match was still good. Andrade, man, just give me more of Andrade on TV anywhere right now, bro. Like that dude is phenomenal. Whatever is going on with Gabe, hopefully, maybe it's a character thing. Like I said, it could have been just him being emotional about what was going on with the different people leaving that night and stuff like that. Maybe it was just from an energy standpoint. But hopefully we just, get more of Gabe being Gabe at those levels that we're used to him providing it for us and stuff like that. But I agree that there was something a little off with him yesterday specifically. Ever since he came back from injury, though, like I don't know, like I know he's leaned out a bit in things of that nature from a weight standpoint. I haven't seen anything. Like I said, I haven't noticed anything out of the ordinary until last night when I was, or guess this morning when I was watching. And that's more from a overall energy standpoint than anything else and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a real good match, and I felt like it was going to be a show stealer at the end of the day. It didn't get to that level of where it was, but it still wasn't a bad match at the end of the day. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I think that it wasn't given the time to be like the show stealer on this card. This matchup was really designed like Big Man Dog says here in the chat. The goal of this matchup was to put over Andrade, to make Andrade look strong, and that's why he dominated. He had most of the offense in this matchup. But I like the scrappiness when they were exchanging forearms, they were exchanging chops. Like you said, the physicality was there. I think that Gabe Kidd just doesn't feel as locked in, and that connection that he had with the crowd this time last year is just not there anymore. His attention is split, his focus is split. He feels like he is a guy that has one mind on AEW and what he's doing over there, and then one mind on New Japan. And I think how his mind works, he can't bring the same Gabe Kidd that we got last year at this time if he's doing that. I think that his mind is going to lean one place or the other, and that's why he's not at the same place that he was in Osaka last year against Yota Tsuji.
Yeah, man. Not all of us are built to multitask at the end of the day, and that's a real thing. And you know, I'm not gonna, you know, if that is something that is that could be contributing to how things have been for Gabe as of late, then it makes sense as well. You know, so it could be a myriad of things. I just hope that whatever it is, he figures it out and he's able to choose a lane if it's him doing too much, and just give his all to one lane instead of trying to mitigate everything that he's doing right now, because it might just be too much for him at the end of the day. And people need to, you know, they need to be honest with themselves and more self-aware as to what it is what their output's going to be, especially with wrestling being his career at the end of the day. So that's where I'm at with that.
We got to talk about Andrade. Like you said, you want to see him anywhere he's at, and he's traveling everywhere. Like the only place that he really hasn't been that a lot of people thought he would be is Mexico so far. Right. So I'm looking forward to when he gets announced for a CMLL show, because you know he's gonna pull out a banger over there. But he's been going to France. He's been in Germany. He just won, I think, was the GWF championship. I was starting to watch. I just saw the entrances before I went to sleep last night of him and Rambo, and then he had a 4-way where he defended the title over there in GWF. He's going, of course, AEW, where he's in this Contender Series later this week. He has Hangman Adam Page at Grand Slam Australia. Do you think that Andrade can keep up this pace and potentially be like a guy that we talk about at the end of the year as like a Wrestler of the Year candidate? Because he started off the year on that pace.
I hope so, you know, because I know the travel can wear on folks. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he can keep the pace up. Obviously, it would be a boon for his career, especially as to where it's been the last couple of years, and you know the controversies in and out of the ring, and you know it'll just set him on the right track, and he would then be the superstar wrestler that a lot of people thought that he was gonna be in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And he's in his freaking prime. You know what I'm saying? So it'll only benefit him to continue this ride. But I just hope that, you know, all the travel and the bookings and stuff like that don't start to wear on him early on in the year, and you know he takes some sort of a dip. But hopefully things continue the way that they have been, and we get to see him be the performer, the wrestler of the year that he so far has been on our TV screens and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I'm impressed with what I've seen. I know he's trying hard with the promo stuff and all that jazz. So credit to him there. He's got the character stuff down, bro. He's got the
I said when we did the preview, he's one of the best characters with this Lothario type character that he's doing, and just he has that kind of unspoken charisma to him. He has that it factor where you see him and you instantly are paying attention to what he's doing, and he just feels like the final form of Andrade, the greatness that we saw from him back in 2018 when he was an NXT champion and putting on those amazing matches with Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black, the guy who was tearing it up on the mid card on the main roster against Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship, the different like signs of greatness that we saw during his first AEW run. I always think about the triple threat matchup against Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, his matches with Pac when he first came into the company, and of course his instant classics with Buddy Matthews on the original Collision shows. All of those things have come together. Now he's got the character to go along with it. He's a part of 2 top factions and 2 of the top promotions in wrestling, whether it's United Empire and New Japan and Don Callis family and AEW, and they're putting him against the top talent. He's against Gabe Kidd on the New Japan show. He's against Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland back-to-back weeks, and then he's going to verse Hangman Adam Page in Australia. It really feels like they are finally giving the Andrade the push that his talent necessitates.
Yeah, and you know, not to forget Tsuji now at New Beginning in the USA here in Jersey.
Yes,
he's going to be taking on Tsuji. So, you know, I think. I
do you think he wins?
Oh, the global championship. Oh boy.
I think he should. I'm just gonna say it. I think he should, because it not only helps to separate. I think that Tsuji has too much on his plate already. I think he should just be focusing on being the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And I know there's going to be some people that are like, I don't want to see Tsuji lose this fast after becoming the double champion. I think that he needs to just focus on the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and what he wants, the goal that he talked about someone traveling all over the world, and he wanted the global title to be defended outside of Japan more. I think that Andrade is the guy who can actually do that.
You're not wrong about that, but I'll raise you this. During his post-show comments, Tsuji mentioned that he wanted to run through the AEW roster.
Yes, I know.
So to me, you know, can he still do that as IWGP Heavyweight Champion? Of course he can. But because he did draw those lines in the sand, right? I feel like he has to retain in this case, but I wouldn't be surprised if Andrade wins the global championship and loses his AEW championship match. Yes, I'm picking Andrade to beat Hanger. You know what I'm saying? So,
I said, I was like, I don't know if they're willing to do that, if they're willing to do heel versus heel. So just give me a 20-minute time limit draw, a 30-minute time limit draw in Australia, if anything. I don't want to see Andrade lose that matchup to Hangman, especially the current state of Hangman coming off of the whole Marty Scurll scandal. I don't think it's the right time for Hangman to be in a world title matchup on pay-per-view.
I haven't been on different podcasting platforms in a while or talked about different things and whatever the case is. It's interesting that you said that it's a scandal, controversy, whatever it was, Hanger's whole thing with Marty, right? And I'm not trying to take away or diminish people's feelings, but from my perspective, a photo, unless it's somebody murdering someone, isn't as scandalous as people want to make it out to be, regardless of who the person in the photo is.
It is when you try to make yourself the progressive, stand up for cause pro wrestler, and then you're standing there with someone who not just is like a pedophile who got with someone young, but is quote unquote legal where they are. He drugged her and then basically R-word her. Like, when you know the details of what Marty did, One, you shouldn't put the photo out there. And two, you shouldn't request an interview where you basically say, well, the pedophile's been nice to me, so I think it's okay.
So
that just doubled down on it.
Here's the thing. And here's the thing about the Marty details, right? I don't know what details are true and what details are not. The first time I'm hearing about him drugging or anything about this young lady, yet again, like I said, I don't know the facts. I wasn't there and things of that nature. Other reports say they were both drunk. Other reports say there was no rape. I don't know what happened at the end of the day. What I want to concentrate on is, yes, was Hangman's decision the brightest one at the end of the day? No.
Empty-headed dumb fuck.
Huh?
Empty-headed dumb fuck. Yeah, I think Punk was right.
At the end of the day, you know, not for nothing. And I get it. It's backlash, it's controversy. It is what it is. Not everybody has pedophiles in their lives, but not everybody has pedophiles in their lives. That's true. You know what I'm saying?
That is a quote. That is a quote.
Not everybody has pedophiles in their lives, but there's going to be plenty of people on this planet who know people, who befriended people, who are family with people, who have committed crimes and have done some dumb shit. And you ain't let them go not once at the end of the day. And for me, first of all, I don't think it was Hanger who posted the photo. I think it was Marty who posted the photo and it went up, right? For all intents and purposes, he doesn't endorse anything that's happened. And, you know, from what he says, he's held him accountable and things of that nature. For me, it's just a fucking photo. It's not like you caught Hanger red-handed doing things that Marty is accused of doing at the end of the day. Like I said, it wasn't the brightest decision. No, it wasn't. But it happened. And it's just a fucking photo. And he considers him a friend. I can't fault him. I don't know their relationship. That is what it is. And like I said, I don't necessarily know the facts of what it is that happened with Marty and that girl at the end of the day. Because there's so much information out there about it. I can't pinpoint what the actual facts are. You know, at the end of the day.
Marty defended it by saying the girl was legal in the UK.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, people are going to say, you know, he's going to be within his rights to say what he's going to say because that's what he knows. Right. But it still doesn't make it right. Right. At the end of the day, I'm not saying anything that he did was right. I just don't know what he did. I wasn't there. There's so much information out there to say. But like I said, the Hangman thing, to me, it's as much ado about nothing because people always want to make people want to make something out of nothing. It's a fucking photo at the end of the day. The photo doesn't necessarily mean that he abides by or that he condones anything that Marty might have done. It just doesn't. It's a fucking picture at the end of the day. It's the same thing. You can say people are out here doing the same thing. What, Bill Gates is in the Epstein files, right? Bill Gates out here fucking apologizing for being in a file he didn't know he was in. I wasn't. I didn't go to the island. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. Cool. I don't know this person freaking personally at the end of the day. But to your point, as well, SP3, and we've taken away from freaking the New Japan stuff. To your point, I don't think it was a smart idea for Hanger to ask for the interview. I think he should have just left it.
Yes, I was gonna say. Chief says Marty should have shut his mouth when he got called. He made it worse by defending his mistake. That's the same thing that Hangman did. He defended his mistake by saying, "Oh, the pedophile's nice to me." Like if you're requesting the interview, you should go in there with the intentive purpose to basically distance yourself as much as possible to Marty and tell everybody that you're reflecting on your friendship and if you want to continue that friendship. He did say that in the interview, but he defended the mistake way too much.
Yeah, like I said, the mistake from Hanger was, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, Marty put the picture up. It wasn't Hanger's decision to put the picture up, right? So the mistake was that he got caught in a photo, right? It wasn't anything that Hanger did that was egregious at the end of the day. So, I don't think HENARE should have gone out of his way to try to explain himself. I think from him trying to explain himself, he did it in a very eloquent way, but it's just going to steamroll and backfire for him, no matter what the explanation was going to be. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it is what it is, but I don't think of him any differently. So that's just me.
I just think he's the empty-headed dumb fuck now. When Dolores says that interview was cringe and Hangman, you was a teacher, it's bad optics. That I agree with. I agree with Dolores there for sure. But let's talk about the next matchup on the card. While the last two matches were for a title and number one contendership, this one is just about hatred. It's a grudge match. It's David Finlay going one-on-one with Callum Newman. No love lost between these two individuals. They have split their first two encounters with one another. David Finlay beat Callum Newman on the road to New Beginning back in 2024, while Callum Newman beat David Finlay with a roll up in the G1 Climax. Callum Newman came in here with the intense purpose to defeat Finlay definitively, and sure as hell he did that, but you could tell this was a match about hatred right from the start. They just trading punches right and left. They burst through the barricade. It spills into the crowd for a bit. Finlay drags Newman into the ring and then slingshots him into the corner, and then the fight immediately goes right back outside. They start running each other into the ring post, into the barricade. You get Zane J, who tries to interfere into things. David Finlay tries to run him into the barricade, but Zane J cut short, and Finlay just absolute pounces and destroys Zane J, taking him over the barricade with the just propelling his body overwood. This was straight up all Finlay to start this matchup. He hits a big power bomb, a buckle bomb into the ring post at another point of the matchup. But once the match gets back inside, you get Finlay with the Dominator. He kept Newman grounded for a bit. Finlay then had to endure his own punishment from Newman, who would hit a few moves before Finlay would come back with a jackknife powerbomb for a near fall. Newman was able to catch him on the overkill, and then he just went into complete destruction mode. We get fists, we get forearms, we get chops. He hits the overkill on Finlay. He hits him with Excalibur once. He waits till Finlay gets up again, and he hits him with a second Excalibur. He goes for the cover, but he picks him up, showing that he has Finlay beat, but he wants to punish him even more. He starts taking the tape off of his wrist, and he exposes his crown tattoo on his wrist. He kisses the crown, and then he makes Finlay kiss it with a lariat, turning Finlay inside out. He then picks up Finlay once again, and he drops him right on his head with the Prince's Curse. 1, 2, 3. Callum Newman dominates David Finlay in surprising fashion, shocking fashion here. Newman has never looked this dominant before, but he really just absolutely washed Finlay in the second half of this matchup after Finlay came out with a storm early on with all the aggression. This was a straight up fight from the minute go, a true bred fight. It was a brilliant brawl that went around the arena, around ringside. Then it really brought that intensity inside the square circle. This was a great performance by Callum Newman, who's really come into his own over the past year. Really what like Finlay went through kind of this maturation throughout 2023 into 2024. You've seen that with Callum Newman 2025 coming into 2026, where he is now a full-fledged heel, the full-fledged leader of United Empire, and he completely dominates David Finlay here and really shows that he is on another level right now. I gave this matchup 3 3/4 stars, a very good matchup here, but post-match is where things got very emotional and a lot of questions were arised. You see Finlay getting up slowly and his eyes start welling up. He then looks to the crowd and he takes a bow to the crowd, which was our first indication that this was it for David Finlay. He goes to Kato, he hugs him, he once again bows to the crowd. He goes over to Hiromu Takahashi, his partner during World Tag League, and he apologizes to him for all the abuse that he gave them throughout their partnership. who is sitting at ringside with the Japanese commentary. He gives Gato the too sweet hand gesture. They gives the hand gesture to the crowd as well. He walks up the ramp. He goes to the lion mark and he gives it a kiss. He gives a kiss to the lion mark. He gets one more curtain call, and this and even with commentary talking about wherever's next for David Finlay, he has left a legacy in New Japan Pro Wrestling, unlike many over the last 11 years. This was the farewell for David Finlay. In a lot of ways, he showed that with what he did here, but you could see the emotion, how much he cares about New Japan Pro Wrestling and appreciated all these years, over a decade in New Japan Pro Wrestling, starting off as the plucky young lion, along with the likes of Juice Robinson and Jay White, a part of like a Gaijin group of young lions that came up in the dojo. His tag team with Juice, Juice, who became one of the more prominent parts of the tag team division, winning the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. And then, of course, his evolution into the leader of the Bullet Club and the Bullet Club War Dogs, and really kind of starting off with a lot of people questioning him, even us included, but me kind of turning around throughout his run as a global heavyweight champion, his great matches with the likes of Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, the Yota Tsuji matchup at last year's Tokyo Dome, the dog pound steel cage matchup were really influenced a lot of his rivalry with Callum Newman here that culminated here. This was a wild ride that Finlay's been on, and what's ever next for him, I wish him the best, because he has really left behind his mark on New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then it was reported a couple of hours after the show by Body Slam Plus that WWE has already started having creative discussions about David Finlay and his future in the company, which points the signs that he might be joining his father, Fit Finlay, who was a trainer at the Performance Center, and his brother, Uriah Connors, who is now a consistent character on NXT TV over in WWE. What did you think about this matchup, J-News? What did you think about the post-match with the emotional goodbye of David Finlay? And what do you think about the future of David Finlay, potentially in WWE? There was also the report of AEW having some interest in him. What do you think is next for David Finlay?
As per the match, this is where David Finlay does what David Finlay does. He had a tremendous match with Callum Newman. He put Callum over, right? He helped in that regard, get Callum's new character over, make him look like $1 million, make him look like this hard-hitting, brash, I don't give a you-know-what type of character. And he also added, me speaking of Callum, he also added that rub it in your face stuff with the freaking crown on his wrist now.
Made him kiss the crowd after the match.
So that was an interesting bit there from Callum, but yet again, more evolution of his character now. So I can appreciate that. Callum's always been when he first started out as a younger wrestler, he was a decent wrestler. I think he's a much better, much more refined in-ring performer now. He can hit you when he needs to hit you, and he can also technically sell his ass off when he needs to in order to get that fervor from the crowd, and he did that quite a bit for David in this match. As per the post-match stuff, I didn't think that David would be as emotional as he was about leaving New Japan, right? And to your point, it just shows that he cared, right?
Yeah.
He spent 11 years.
I mean, I think he really showed that. Like, honestly, when you look at like his whole run in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's one of the most reliable, dependable, and most of all, the greatest adjective I give him, selfless. When you look at this new generation, how many of this new generation has had one of their best performances, best matches against David Finlay? It's a litany of them. Uemura, Tsuji, Callum, like the list goes on and on. He has been one of the most selfless guys New Japan has had this decade.
Absolutely. Yeah, can't disagree with that there. I feel like he's helped get all of those guys not over, but he's helped them. He's given them the rub, right? As they say in the business. He's definitely given them the rub. He's made them look like $1,000,000. And for the most part, these guys have been able to, take the ball and run with it. You were more not yet, but I think he'll get there. I do feel he'll get there. Callum is on the rise. Obviously, we know where Suge is at. He tried with Shooter. We still,
he had a great match with him. I really feel like that was part of the turnaround of this quote unquote second chapter with Shota Umino after the Tokyo Dome failure. It was David Finlay in the New Japan Cup final last year that really started this run that we saw kind of the fruits of the labor on this show.
Yeah, Shooter, jury's still out on Shooter. But David Finlay, like you said, man, he was there. He was Mr. Reliable. Even though I have my issues, still have my issues with the Boss Dog character, it is what it is. Like I can always respect the role that he had and how he played it on for New Japan, and I gotta respect that. The emotionality I wasn't expecting, that came about the way it did, and for me, I was like, all right, he cares. I appreciate that. Hugging Gato was like, how do you hug Gato? After everything Gato's done, how do you hug Gato?
It's like, you never gave me the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, but I love you still.
But it is what it is there. As per his future, you asked. It's like I said during the cold open, man. I hope he goes somewhere where he feels that he's being used in whatever he deems is the right way, right? He was never a main event guy in New Japan. He was upper mid card, if you want to call it that. I don't know what his future holds now. If creative plans are being had for him on the WWE level, where does he start? Is he a main roster guy? Is he an NXT guy? Like, how does that work? David's an 11-year pro. Him going to NXT, it would be for what, character machinations, right?
I think though, when we look at like history, he's probably other than AJ Styles, how many New Japan guys go straight to the main roster and it turns out well? Like right. The guys that it usually you can have a long run with WWE is you start off in NXT. You start off in NXT where you can be positioned as a top guy in NXT, and you will at least start off in the upper mid card. After a good run in NXT, you'll start in the upper mid card on the main roster.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just, his dad's been part of that company for years, decades at this point, right? And his younger brother's there. As a recurring character, as you put it on NXT.
He's starting a new group of second generation stars too.
Oh, is that the deal? Okay.
Yeah, it's him, Lexis King, and Ariana Grace, who all have wrestled dads. Channing Stacks Lorenzo is in there because he's the son-in-law of Santino Marella.
Yeah, that makes sense. Look, for all intents and purposes, NXT does need male bodies in their championship division, and I think David Finlay would add to that if he goes the WWE route. I feel like it would be something not fresh for the AEW crowd who doesn't necessarily watch New Japan. If he goes to AEW and they bring the War Dogs to AEW, it would be a different feel from a group standpoint. If he's got his choice. Obviously, I would think he would probably go to WWE, but just depends. At the end of the day, his future is good, right? As to where the heights of this future, I can't call that. At the end of the day, I just hope he doesn't get bogged down with some BS character if he goes to WWE. That is my only fear.
They don't put him in a Shamrock singlet and give him the shillelagh back.
Imagine, bro. Imagine if they have him out there river dancing like they did Becky and shit. That'd be crazy.
My name's Finlay, and I love to fight.
He's a fourth generation fighting Finlay, so you know it is what it is there. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to transition the Boss Dog over to WWE TV, but we'll see. Hoping for the best for him, and yeah, that's all I got, man. Props to David Finlay for being the worker that he is, and for helping get the younger guys to the next level.
We got a couple of comments to feature here. We got Nikki, who's echoing what I said on the preview, and this is what I was alluding to earlier. He says, feels set up for Newman to be New Japan Cup winner. He surely fails to win the belt, but I think he'll be global champ before the end of the year. I agree with that second part, especially. I think that he is ready-made to be a global heavyweight champion before the end of the year. But yeah, he's my pick to win the New Japan Cup. You can't put him over the way you just did, and he doesn't get some type of significant push in the next couple of months. And I think the best move for them to do is have him win the global heavyweight. Have him win the New Japan Cup, challenge Tsuji at Sakura Genesis, continue the whole Unbound United Empire rivalry for a bit longer, because it's been kind of the driving force of the main event scene and up and down the card over the road to New Beginning into this New Beginning show.
I have my thoughts about the New Japan Cup. I don't disagree with Newman winning this year, especially with what you're saying, the way they're pushing him. I forget who said it earlier in the chat about Roy winning the New Japan Cup as well. I like that idea. If they want to continue to build up their younger guys from Newman
is one of your younger guys, and you just signed him to a multi-year contract.
I'm not saying that Newman's not one of the younger guys. I'm just saying from a local standpoint, right? Let's be real. So
I think Roy will get his time. He'll get his time. He could probably get an opportunity later on in the year if him and Tsuji say are in the same block in the G1 Climax. He could beat Tsuji there to set up a title match in the fall. But I think that Newman is the one he's the one with the momentum, and he's the one that it makes the most sense because of the whole United Empire Unbound Company rivalry.
Yeah. I agree with that.
We got Big Man Dogs, who says best case scenario for David Finlay going into WWE is probably breaking Ethan Page's role in WWE NXT. I could see that for him. I could see him instantly coming in, adding some credibility to this second generation stable, and then them pushing up into the main event scene. And maybe he gets like the Ethan Page push where it doesn't take him more than a few months and he's the NXT champion, because Joe Hendry has transitional champion written all over him.
Yeah. They pulled the trigger on Joe Hendry too late.
Yes,
that's just the
TNA and NXT both did that. TNA did it a couple of months too late, and NXT you're like a year too late.
Yeah,
Joe Hendry peaked at the beginning of 2025.
Yeah, so there's that of it. David, like I said, David Finlay in the men's division as part of that NXT champion rigmarole, I think would work. But he can't be there for too long, man. That's just my whole thing. He's just too much of a freaking veteran to be at NXT for that long. I know that we have the cases of like Gargano and Ciampa in their days and Adam Cole, and I was like, Black and Gold was different, man. This ain't Black and Gold no more. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that in mind. But I hope it's just good things for him, man, because what he was able to do with what New Japan gave him was, oh my God. Big Man Dogs.
You're ridiculous. He said David Finlay's going to have a 3.5-star match with Shallow Hill.
Jesus Christ. Anyways, man, why everybody else got shit on Shiloh Hill? I shit on it.
Shiloh Hill's my guy, man. That's my guy, bro. That's my guy right there. LFG season 2 winner right there.
I feel like I don't feel so to what was said earlier about David Finlay taking Ethan Page's role. I don't think that's going to happen. Ethan Page isn't going anywhere. Let's be realistic. He's not going anywhere.
I can see him getting called up after WrestleMania.
To do what? What?
He has a ready-made main roster act. He's already aligned with Chelsea Green. Just put him in a faction with Chelsea Green on the main roster.
Man, I've been out on All Ego Ethan Page since his TNA days. All right, so I've never been able to get behind him.
He's been great in WWE NXT. He's been one of their top guys.
I know he's been one of their top guys. Doesn't necessarily mean I have to like him. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't necessarily mean I gotta like him. You know. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, if David Finlay does go to WWE and he does go to NXT, I don't think he's going to be taking Ethan Page's role. I think Ethan Page is going to still be there, and David Finlay is probably going to end up having his druthers with Ethan Page, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, I think David Finlay's probably, even at this stage, David Finlay's got one up on Ricky Saints from a presentation standpoint. Him having, that.
He's definitely a better in-ring worker than Page or Saints right now.
Sure, absolutely. And he's definitely has the opportunity to improve with his mic skills and promo stuff or whatever the case is, depending as to how they want to bring him in. So yeah, man. Yeah. Good luck, David. Good luck.
Hey, I got high hopes for David Finlay. I think that he could be a top guy in NXT. He could spend 2 years or so there, and then he could get called up to the main roster and have a solid under mid card role. No, probably like an upper mid card role on the main roster. But I think that he does have a ceiling on the main roster of like max U.S. Intercontinental Champion. I don't see him ever becoming a WWE champion, world champion. I would love to see it, but I just don't see it right now with how that company is structured. He's at least 8 years away from that. When he's 40, maybe he could be in line for that.
Jesus Christ.
That's how WWE works. You got to be 40 years old to be a WWE champion at this point. They still have not had a world champion born in the 1990s.
Fair. Fair.
Very quickly before we get into the next matchup, we brought it up in the live chat. We'll bring it up here. Hiroshi Tanahashi came out. We got to hear his theme song. Great to hear. As he had a special announcement, the ASIN president thanked the crowd, boasting the huge numbers for Wrestle Kingdom 20, as well as the sellout here at the New Beginning in Osaka. And then he stated that they will be back in Osaka at Osaka Joe Hall coming up on June 14th for NJPW Dominion. And they would be broadcast live on national network television in Japan on TV Asahi. So a huge announcement. He says that they plan on selling out Osaka Joe Hall come June 14th. This just brings up the momentum that New Japan is on, like not only from an on-screen quality product, but as far as business, New Japan is going on the up and up, despite the departures of, Hiroshi Tanahashi ending his career at Wrestle Kingdom, Evil, Hiromu Takahashi, and the aforementioned David Finlay leaving the company. New Japan is on the up business-wise right now.
Yeah, man. And it's good to see at the end of the day, especially as to where they were at points last year. I was like, what is happening? It's like, what is happening? So they're definitely in a better position now. Them being on national Japanese TV is going to do nothing but good for them. Them promoting the event this early allows them to create that buzz. So Tony Khan, take a fucking page out of Tanahashi's book here and promote your shit early. At the end of the day, things are looking kind of weird over in Australia this weekend. Just to say,
I heard they got over. It's going to be over 9,000.
Is it
not that bad? Yeah, that was the latest report.
Well, then tickets must have sold a lot over the weekend then, because last weekend was like,
once they released the card last week on Dynamite. Like they waited too long. Like they should have waited.
4 matches stated for it so far.
No, 5. It's a whole card.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Moxley, Takeshita, Hangman and Andrade, Brody and MJF, Babes of Wrath versus the Mega Bad and Timeless, Freshly Squeezed versus the Death Riders.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. At the end of the day, hey, if by Saturday if they sell out, cool. But things weren't looking cool just last week.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. This is why you gotta announce stuff ahead of time, Tony. You gotta announce stuff ahead of time. Announce Wembley Stadium, please, because we're in February and you still haven't announced anything.
Yeah, man. So it's a good look for Prez Tana to definitely announce the Dominion show, Osaka Joe Hall. I always love the look of Osaka Joe Hall at the end of the day. To say the staging look at the show yesterday was refreshing. Really it might have been just me. It might have been used before, but I was like, hey, this looks new. This looks fresh. I like this. So props to production over at New Japan for putting that together.
Yeah. Oh, we should also mention with the previous matchup, Callum Newman had a new entrance theme, which I really liked. I really liked his whole presentation. I was like, this feels like we have seen the next evolution of Callum Newman.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I want great and good things for that kid. If he can get to the level, to whatever level he wants to get to, let me not compare him to anybody because he's carving out his lane now. To whatever level he wants to get to, I'm all for it, kiddo. At the end of the day, So props to Callum Newman.
He's coming off. I will do the comparison. He's coming off like a hybrid of Ospreay and Balor.
You didn't have to say that, man. You didn't have to say it like that, but it is true. That is
it's true. It's Prince Devitt meets Ospreay in a lot of ways. Yes. I like it. I dig it.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, it's working. It's working. So that's all we can ask for at the end of the day.
Unfortunately, what I didn't dig is the next matchup. For the Never Openweight Championship, it was Aaron Wolf defending against House of Torture's Ren Narita. Doki, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Dick Togo ambush Wolf during his entrance. He got a good pop coming out here in Osaka Edion Arena. They clobbered him in the entranceway. They brought him into the ring as Narita started stomping down on him. But Wolf actually was able to make some type of comeback. He didn't have little issue overcoming all the House of Torture members until a ref bump happened, and then the rest of the House of Torture got into the ring to jump Aaron Wolf in the ring again. Then we get Wolf fights him off. He fights him off yet again. He's able to hit a big slam on Narita. You think that he's actually going to make the comeback here. This was all done in 2 minutes, by the way. He does a Judon throw, and then eventually we get a distraction from Dick Togo. We get a low blow from Ren Narita. We get the the bloody cross. Then we get Dick Togo choking him with the Garrett, and then we get the Hell's Guillotine from Narita off the top rope, and he pins him like he is a straight up young lion. Yes, he's still in the young lion gear, but damn, really? 2 minutes? Just over 2 minutes. Aaron Wolf has lost the Never Openweight Championship. Post-match, House of Torture gang up on Wolf. They batter him even more. Various members of Hontai eventually come out to help him. Thanks, guys. Should have been here like 3 minutes ago. And the victorious House of Torture stand on the entranceway with Ren Narita, our new Never Openweight Championship. this is the highs and lows of being a New Japan fan. Like, we went through 5 matches where I'm just like, oh man, we had a good junior tag team opener. You had a very rock solid kind of heavyweight banger, like banging against each other, hard hitting tag team matchup. We get back-to-back bangers with the never openweight championship, back-to-back bangers really with the never openweight championship, Andrade and Gabe, and then Callum and Finlay. You get this emotional goodbye from Finlay that creates a whole bunch of questions, great stuff to talk about. You get the great news of Dominion being announced at Osaka Joe Hall on national TV, and then they just bring you right back down to earth, as Gato always does. He doesn't like to have a whole high. He can't do like this, a trajectory up show. No, he has to give you the highs and the lows of New Japan, where Dick Togo backstage confirms that Ren Narita is now the new leader of the House of Torture, and he is our new never openweight champion. And the great push that Aaron Wolf got at Wrestle Kingdom just completely just gets washed away because he gets squashed in 2.5 minutes thanks to basically a 5-on-1 attack. I'm disgusted. This was a gut punch on the show. Like, why does New Japan always do this? Why every time that we are so high on New Japan, they have so much goodwill, and especially they have over the last 2 months since Wrestle Kingdom, why did you ruin this great trajectory that you had Aaron Wolf on? You see that Aaron Wolf is this draw. Like, he drew at the Blue Justice show when he was in the main event. He was part of the draw for Wrestle Kingdom selling out. He was part of the draw for this show selling out. And you just completely just wash that away with this shock booking to put a stop to all of that. That doesn't make any type of sense. I understand there are some people out there like, Ren Narita needed this win. How do you expect House of Torture to continue on without solidifying a Ren Narita as the new leader? I don't need House of Torture in my New Japan. I would have liked that to die with Evil leaving the company. But here we are. We have it in the junior heavyweight division with Doki having the junior title. Now we got it in the never division with Ren Narita having the never openweight championship. I understand Aaron Wolf is still a green rookie, but you didn't have to do it this way. At least they kept it short. So I appreciate you not dragging it out for 10 minutes like you usually would with House of Torture matches. But damn, I felt like this was the big omission on this show. What did you think?
There are times in life where you have to take the lessons from the losses, right? And I think that from a wrestling trope standpoint, that Aaron Wolf losing here only creates an avenue, a path for him to even garner more sympathy from the crowd, and the crowd get even more behind him, so that he can finally defeat the bad guys. With that being said, they completely cut this dude off at the knees.
Yes.
There are ways to go about this from a storytelling perspective that probably would work better. This didn't work for me. Ren Narita, we talked about how the WWE and TNA relate to the Joe Hendry party. New Japan been late on the Ren Narita party. They didn't give him the TV strap when they needed to.
Nope.
And his change of character came too late.
Yeah.
And then now we have him part of this group that by majority, most Western fans don't care for, right? House of Torture. I would have loved to have seen the dissolution of the House of Torture with Evil's leaving.
Yes. That would have been to the benefit of New Japan.
Big Band Dog is absolutely right about this. Every time I see Ren Narita, all I can see is Hideo Kojima. And for those who don't know, Hideo Kojima, famed video game director, creator, things of that nature. He reminds me of him all the time. With that being said, and mind you, Kojima is actually a New Japan fan. So with that being said, the Ren Narita ship has sailed. You can't put Ren in the same boat as Uemura and Umino. You can't do that. At the end of the day, you lost that right when you put him in the House of Torture. At the end of the day, is he still a credible wrestler? Absolutely, but you don't let him do that. So where am I supposed to feel anything but indifference towards Ren Narita at this point? This does not make sense to me. How you decide, not you, SP3, but how New Japan, Kato, TikTogo, Tana too, how they decided that this was a good idea when they put the rocket pack on this guy is beyond me at this point. They should have executed this differently, is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Him jobbing in 2 minutes and getting his ass beat after he took on the entire HOT at Wrestle Kingdom and won the championship. You telling me HOT with one less man is stronger now than they were 4 weeks ago? Nah, man. What are we doing?
They didn't even have bad luck Finlay. They put him through a table. They put him through a table at Wrestle Kingdom. It took 2 minutes to beat him here.
No Finlay, no Evil, no Chase Owens, nothing. We didn't have none of those guys here, and he couldn't subdue this version of the House of Torture.
He's always going to do this to us. Gato's always going to do this to us. He's going to bring us right back down to earth. When you think that there is nothing that could take down New Japan from this hot streak, they're going to new heights than ever before. How do you flush down the toilet that reaction that he got at Wrestle Kingdom?
Dude,
he felt like the new future of New Japan Pro Wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom. And then you squashed him in 2.5 minutes.
Big Man Dog talking about they should have used bear spray.
Jesus Christ.
It would have worked better, right? At least it would have been something. But it's like he just got trampled on by 5 dudes that he took care of about a fucking month ago. Sorry. He took care of about a month ago.
It's okay. It's okay. This is the type of stuff that induces cursing. King of the North's blaming me, actually. I don't know why. I didn't ask for any of this. I literally said, Evil, you leave the company, I will be a fan. I literally posted up when the report came out that Evil was leaving New Japan and possibly going to WWE. I was like, now I'm a fan. I'll like you as long as you keep that Evil away from New Japan. But you can take out the guy, but you can't kill the idea.
Yeah,
that's what I learned here,
dude. And for all intents and purposes, like, how do you not know when to ride the wave? Right? How do you not know when to ride the wave? You ride the wave with Callum Newman in the United Empire, right? You got to ride the wave.
And you already have a replacement top heel faction. Like you don't need House of Torture. Why do you need a mid-card top tier heel faction? No, you already have your main event heel faction with United Empire. You don't need to put over Red Narita and the House of Torture.
It's too late for that, man. It's too late for that. You need to fully rehab Red Narita. Him being the freaking leader of the House of Torture, trust me when I tell you, is going to do nothing for his career. Trust me when I tell you that at the end of the day. And now you cut the guy off at the knees. You kill all his momentum off of that big-ass pop he got at Wrestle Kingdom. Now he's got to go be a young boy in obscurity because you know he ain't going to be on TV. That's just not, that can't happen. You can't put him back on TV after this.
Or maybe this is they're gonna do a long form story where he eventually wins back the Never title on TV at Dominion. They basically are doing the Mike Santana booking of he gets his big moment at our big show, but now we're gonna be on TV, so we gotta take the title off him so he can win it back on TV. I think that's what they're doing with Aaron Wolf.
Sidebar, I know Mike is proud to be TNA champion, but they did him a disservice.
They definitely did.
That's all That's all I gotta say about that. And there's the same thing, and it's basically the same thing here with Aaron Wolf. I know Aaron Wolf's not completely ready. I know his in-ring is still iffy here and there, but you have to understand and find a way to fake it till you make it. This is professional wrestling. This is what the sport is for. Smoke and mirrors, baby. Smoke and mirrors. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Anyways.
King of the North saying, where are his friends? He's got no friends. They came out after he was getting jumped in the post-match. Like they saw him get jumped in the entranceway. They saw him get jumped during this 2.5 minute matchup, and they didn't show up until after he already lost the title.
Jesus Christ, man. Then I think it was Chris Charlton, who was saying, oh, those guys were in the showers, they didn't even know, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Your fake ass narrative does not work here, sir.
No, because Yano, I think Yano was out there. He was in the pre-show matchup.
Give me a break, man. Give me a freaking break. What is this? What did they do to this guy? What did they do to this guy?
What did Aaron Wolf do? Did Aaron Wolf sleep with somebody's wife or something? I don't know.
Oh, jeez, man. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Disgusting, New Japan. Oh, God, dear. Why? You had something. And yeah, you're probably right, Big Man Does. He said in the chat that it's going to be a 3-match saga. Yeah, I saw that online that someone said that this is probably what they wanted to do with Evil, that they were going to do a 3-match series with Evil, and that Evil would have won back the title here, and then to set up Aaron Wolf eventually winning back the title from him. I think that they're going to drag this out until June, and Aaron Wolf's going to finally win the title back on TV.
So when would the second match be then?
I would say probably New Japan Cup.
Finals?
He beats him in
like the show.
No,
not the finals.
No, in the tournament. In the tournament.
But
in the tournament. In the tournament. Because you in the tournament? Yeah, he's probably gonna be in the tournament. He's despite being a green rookie, he's a big star. You gotta put him in the tournament.
But like, I don't know, man. Like I said, smoke and mirrors, baby. Smoke and mirrors. You know what I'm saying? You can't be exposing this kid. Don't expose.
Hey, you put him in the tournament. You put him first round against Ren Narita. He gets his win back. Then you put him in there with like a Tomohiro Ishii, a guy that he is guaranteed to at least have a good match with. And then Tomohiro Ishii takes him out, and then Ishii will probably lose to the next person he faces in the tournament.
In my own headcanon, I feel it's a better story for him to go through each individual member of the House of Torture to get back to Ren Narita if they want to do the long form thing. But that's just me. At the end of the day. So that he can get the reps, man. So he can get the reps. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to make sure this kid gets the reps. Jesus. Anyways.
Oh man, this is the highs and the lows of New Japan Pro Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're here for. House of Torture isn't working. What the fuck? Aaron Wolf was. That's what we're saying. You know what was working on this show though? The following matches. The following matches got us right back. Absolutely. Got us back to New Japan good, as it was time for the Knockout Brothers, Asuka and Yuto Ice, defending the IWGP World Tag Team Championships against Shota Umino, Yuya Uemura, RoughStorm. You have Ice and Uemura, they were the MVPs of this fucking matchup. But man, I've really been impressed with Shota Umino throughout the beginning part of this year. I thought that he looked good in the Rambo. I thought that he had an excellent performance against Ishii and Taiji, and I thought that he was very much energetic in this matchup early on, beating on Oscar on the outside, hits a wicked DDT, Hangman's DDT on the outside on the floor. He hurls Yuto Ice into the barricade. You get Oscar was so good in this matchup. Like I said this on social media, I'll say it here. We don't see a lot of big man as good as Oscar at this stage of his career. Just a couple of years into his career, there's a reason why he gets the comparisons to the Mark Calloways, the Undertaker, and stuff like that, because he has that look, but not only that, he is that good. He has that agility. He has that jump, the way that he goes up for the leg drop, the way that he hits his choke slam, his timing in the ring. But most of all, what he showed me in this matchup, this man might be one of the best sellers in all of New Japan. The way that he sold his neck from the minute he gets that Hangman's DDT on the outside, the tornado DDT in the ring by Shota Umino, this man sold the neck the entire matchup. Anything he did, he was going for covers and he's holding on to his neck. I was so impressed with his selling in this matchup. You get Oscar sends Uemura outside. He rocked Umino with the scoop slam. Umino rebounded with the tornado DDT. Then you get Uemura comes in. He reunites with Ice in the ring, and just anytime Ice and Uemura were in the ring, I was just like, just inject this into my veins. Like, these two guys, they are going to main event a Tokyo Dome one day. I'm convinced, because it's just the crowd energy, the energy that they bring, the animosity, the real story behind Uemura injuring Yuto in his first singles matchup in New Japan, and how that story has inspired such work in these tag team matches, such work in their singles match that they had on the road to King of Pro Wrestling. You see that every time they're in the ring, there is hatred. There is hatred there. There is this aggression that they bring, the physicality, the intensity that they bring in the ring together. It is unmatched. And just Uemura and Umino, they very much have the Takahashi Nakamura vibes of, we are a tag team, but we're really rivals. Like, and I love the story that they told with that, with the teamwork of the Knockout Brothers really being the better of the two duos, because Uemura and Umino, despite being a tag team, they are still rivals. So a lot of their work that they do in the ring is going to be separate, whereas the Knockout Brothers are this cohesive unit. You get a drop kick, an arm bar gave Uemura the leverage. He hits a flying crossbody. Ice fired back, and he collapsed in exhaustion as Uemura was about to nail him with the lariat. Great selling by Ice there. You get one moment where both Ice and Uemura, they knocked the other's tag team partner off the apron because they wanted to keep the fight within their self, and they just had Osaka on the edge of their seat, and they had this arena rumbling in the middle portion and down the stretch of this matchup. Ice gets the upper hand with a chop exchange where he just lights up Uemura. He stumbles back into the corner when Umino comes in and drop kicks him. Oscar was so out of it with the damage to his neck as the challengers hit him with the Dragon Riot, and that looked like that was going to be it, but Ice is able to make the save. Together, Ice and Oscar are able to take out Shooter completely from this matchup, catching him by surprise with the KOB, and we did not see Umino throughout the rest of this matchup. It was over for him after that. Uemura would have to fight on his own, and he had such a fantastic comeback. He showed so much fire, so much fighting spirit, fighting both men off. He catches Ice with the headbutt right to the jaw and then catches him into the deadbolt. You think that Ice is going to be out of it after that, and it's down to Uemura and Oscar, and they are electing some rumbling of their own in Osaka as they're trading moves. You get Oscar locks him in a sleeper hold, but Uemura is able to fight out of it. He hits a German suplex, once again attacking the neck of Oscar, who was selling it throughout this entire matchup. They go for separate pin attempts that had Osaka like on the edge of their seat. They did not know how this one was going to pan out. It was going back and forth towards the end of this thing. We get finally Ice is able to come back. They hit a double team move. He hits the PK on Uemura, and then eventually they pick him up and they finally put Uemura away with another KOB 1, 2, 3. Knockout Brothers retain the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. This one was an absolute instant classic. This was the show stealer of it all. It came in with all the hype in the world, the rivalry that these two teams have right now. It might not just only be the best in New Japan, it might be one of the best in all of wrestling. Like, it is unmatched right now. The excellent matchup that they had at King of Pro Wrestling, I think I gave that like 4.5 stars last year, or 4.25. The matchup that they had in World Tag League, I gave that like 4 stars. This one, it was their best work yet. They had Ideon Arena on fire down the stretch. An absolutely sensational matchup here. I might on second view, I might have to watch this a second time and give the full vote. For now, I will give it 4 3/4 stars. An absolutely amazing performance by all 4 men. All 4 men brought their A game in this one. They were all at top form. This is going to go down as one of the match of the year candidates for New Japan Pro Wrestling, who has already had like 3 separate 5-star matches this year, but they probably added another one with this one. You know what? Fuck it. 5 stars to this shit. I love this shit. Inject this in my veins. Give me some more Knockout Brothers and RoughStorm, and give me some more Yuto Ice versus Yuya Uemura. They are not only going to headline a Tokyo Dome, I can see this as a G1 climax final one day. They just have that type of vibe, that type of rivalry to them. The arena goes dark after the match, and AEW's The Demand show up on the big screen. We get Ricochet, who challenges the Knockout Brothers stablemates in Unbound Company. Taiji Ishimori, he tells him that he wants him to challenge him for the AEW National Championship, while Toa Leona and Bishop Khan opt to challenge the Knockout Brothers for the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Those 2 matches, Ricochet and Ishimori, and the KOB versus GOA, will go down on February 27th at the New Beginning USA. This was the highlight of the entire show for me, J-News. What did you think? Knockout Brothers, RoughStorm 2 or 3, actually.
I cannot disagree with you there. I've announcement to everybody in the chat and SP3. I got to get going within the next 10 minutes or so. So
all right,
I'll make this one quick. The Knockout Brothers have been a welcomed re-addition to the New Japan roster since they've come back. Them reinvigorating the tag team division in New Japan has been something that we've been waiting for to happen in the tag division for quite some time. And thankfully it's happened with this younger team here. Part of the new generation, because they are part of the new generation of New Japan. So with that being said, like I said earlier, I just wonder what happens with Uemura and Shota Umino from here, right? Do they continue to be a tag team? Do they go on their separate ways? What will be the consequence of all this? Is really more or less my thing. Fantastic match. If for all intents and purposes, for me, Uemura and Shota Umino should stick together. They really should. This is them at their best as a tag team. If they weren't able to find it as single stars, it's okay for them to be a tag team at the end of the day and ride that wave and have them eventually take those titles off of KOB somewhere down the line, if not sooner rather than later, or whatever have you, right? That can be something that they can do. And for you, so Ice and Oscar, man, I can't agree with you more. Like, hit Oscar selling in this match, bro. Like, I genuinely thought he was hurt. Props to Ref Kenta for milking that shit. Because without Ref Kenta, I was like, yo, what's going on? Is he really hurt? What's happening? So props to Ref Kenta for that. Yeah, man, Oscar's a freaking revelation, bro. And I got to give him all the credit in the world with how he really performed in that match there. I agree with you, man. I think Uemura and Yuto Ice have a built-in blood feud that can feed millions. But when will it happen? Really is the question. Will we get it at the New Japan Cup? Will we get it at the G1? Will they do it? Right? Because they're, like I was just saying, I feel like Umino and Uemura found their thing as a tag team. And obviously Yuto Ice and freaking Oscar work. So how are they going to be able to balance this between these parties is really the question going forward at the end of the day. So, but yeah, fantastic match, man. I can't laud it enough. Shoot, bro. Like, I want to see the Knockout Brothers with some of the best tag teams around the world right now. GOA being their next opponents at New Beginning in USA. That should be cool as long as Toa Leona doesn't try to end himself during the match. Collision was not pretty, brother. Leave that shit alone. So we'll have that.
Stop doing moonsaults off the apron, bro.
Man, don't be doing that, man. Don't be doing that. Wait. Big Mando says something about. Anyways, never mind. No. So I'll say this. The KO, man, KOB. I need to see them around the world, bro. I need to see them around the world. I would honestly like to see a match between them and Jet Speed, with how well they come together. Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bay, that is. Obviously them against the Bucks and FTR and stuff like that, whatever the AEW tag teams and stuff. There's some good tag teams in the UK as well, if they wanted to go down that rate.
But they are the front runners for tag team of the year right now.
Yeah, man. I mean, without question, at the end of the day, so that's awesome match, man. Match of the night, definitely the highest moment of the entire show. So to use Yuto Ice's catchphrase, let's get high.
Indeed. Love this matchup. Definitely got a way to watch it from anything else on the show. There was a couple of more bangers on the show, but nothing got the crowd, as this was the peak of the crowd energy throughout the whole show. But finally, you got the main event. I'll go through this quickly. It was Yota Tsuji defending the IWGP Heavyweight Championship against Jake Lee. Early on, they locked into a stalemate between each other. Lee gleefully started enraging Tsuji by avoiding his offense, by taking bows at different points and avoiding his tope suicida. At one point, you get Lee. He started laughing and dancing like a jester, having kicked Tsuji after being whipped into the ropes. Adorning a black glove, he started doing his whole dentist act as Tsuji was able to hit a couple of Hurricane Radas. A DDT, though, wrench control from Tsuji as Lee started taking control. He took off the glove and started taking things more seriously. He started going after the knees of Tsuji, but Tsuji started going after his knees, hitting a couple of dragon screw leg whips. Champion and challenger, they started clashing in the middle, with Lee's last-ditch effort being a massive kick to give him control. A vicious chop exchange left Lee with a fucking great bruise on his chest, but they started exchanging more forearms and elbows. Sensing Tsuji was targeting the knee too much, he kicked in repetition to stop Tsuji Tsuji, but Tsuji started firing up. We get Lee with a German suplex to take him down. He was looking for the face breaker, but they get a corner kind of meet up between each other, but Lee was able to reverse things in his favor until Tsuji was able to hit him with the Guerrero Especial, but Lee just got up. He started no-selling it. He hits a big choke slam, gets a near fall on that, but then eventually we get a Gene Blaster out of nowhere, but Lee is able to kick out. Eventually we get the kneeing to Lee's gut a couple of times before Tsuji puts him away after Lee started no-selling things. He puts him away with a second Gene Blaster to get the 1-2-3 and retain the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Unfortunately, this was slower than it needed to be. It was very plodding at times. It wasn't the effort that I thought that we needed. We needed more energy from Tsuji here because Lee was Lee. Lee was the Jake Lee that we know him to be in 2026. It was up to Tsuji to kind of elevate his game and carry this one, and he just couldn't do it. So I gave this 2 3/4 stars. Did not enjoy this one too much. At best, I will give it 3 stars, but I can't go at best. I'll give it 2 3/4 stars. Post match is where the good thing happened on this show, as Tsuji thanked Lee for the challenge as 4 young lions carried him to the back. Since he believed that wrestlers give their lives to this medium, he asked the audience to continue walking with him. He beckoned Unbound Company down to the ring, and he also called on Hiromu Takahashi to come in and give a final farewell. Takahashi gave a great speech thanking New Japan, saying that this is not goodbye, but see you later. But all the while you had Yuto Ice turned around until he finally took off his hoodie and he exposed that he was crying. He was bawling in the ring. They embraced as he was in tears. Takahashi laughing at Yuto Ice breaking character, as Unbound Company got a very wholesome, nice farewell for one of the absolute legends, one of the greatest junior heavyweights of all time. Hiromu Takahashi says goodbye to New Japan for now. Great stuff with the post-match, though, but what did you think about the match and the post-match with Hiromu, J-News?
This is what I wanted to say about this match. This was my first time ever being exposed to Jake Lee in a one-on-one contest, ever. Watching it live. I understand why people feel the way that they do about Jake Lee. I get it. But I also understand a wrestler's choice of artistry when he's in the ring, right? Now, with that being said, does it work? No, it does not work.
Not in this company.
Jake, I'm sorry. You know why I say I'm sorry? Because there were flashes of wrestling brilliance in that match from Jake Lee. So it's like he can bring it if he wanted to, right? But the court jester character part of it all sucks the life out of that match. Why do I say that in general?
Yeah.
By majority, that crowd was not reacting to anything he was doing until the very end of that match. That is not how New Japan crowds operate. So for all intents and purposes, it did not work. It just didn't work. And I can applaud his attempt. I can understand wanting to be and execute something that is different, but also understanding what doesn't work takes a certain level of awareness. And either he becomes aware of it or someone makes him become aware of it. Because what happened last night or this morning, wherever you are in the world, shouldn't have gone down the way that it did. They both deserve better than that. But then this is what we got. I'm going to point out the one thing to me that just was bizarre. The glove thing that he did twice, right? And one time he put his hand in Big Suji's mouth or whatever, tried to hook it or whatever. Then the second time he didn't get off whatever he was supposed to get off. And it's like, he's supposed to be sociopathic, but yet sort of court gesture-ish. It's like it's a whole amalgamation of things. And it's like, pick a fucking lane.
It just wasn't over with this crowd. Like, yeah, you're absolutely right that the crowd got less into the matchup the more he played up the court jester side of himself.
Because if you're gonna be the court jester and you're gonna be the comedic relief of a match, I can give you that. But you didn't give me comedy here. You didn't give me that. This was just strange for the sake of being strange, and it didn't help tell the story. That's where it falls apart for me. It didn't help tell the story. Now, if you're going to tell me, oh, he was getting in Tsuji's head, well, if Tsuji's supposed to play off of whatever Jake is doing, it didn't come off well that way in last night's match. It just didn't. So that to me is where the trouble is at the end of the day. I don't think that Jake Lee is a bad wrestler. I don't. Because like I said, there's flashes of brilliance in him as a pro wrestler, but what he's doing, this act, the gimmickry, it ain't working, bro. It ain't working.
It's chicanery at its finest that would fit in more House of Torture, not in
even
the United Empire, and not in the main event of any matchup.
Not even, man. And it's like I said, it's weird. It's strange. If it worked to develop a story, I would sit here and be like, all right, give me more. But it didn't even work to that end, right? No. So it's like, you lost me, man. You lost me. I think towards the tail end of the match, when he was firing up and he was just doing the court jester antics, like from a selling standpoint or a non-sell standpoint, that worked for that instance. But all the other strange shit or sociopathic shit, the fucking the facial mannerisms, like, you lost me, man. And you lost the crowd. You lost the crowd until
the crowd that was hot after the last matchup, and they were ready to be into this matchup, and he just lost them with this whole act. And like, I'm not gonna take any blame away from Tsuji. I didn't think Tsuji stepped up or made this work at all either.
Yeah, he did. That's what I was saying as well. He didn't play off of this well at all, and it didn't work. Don't go back to this well. Do not go back to this well. Whoever Tsuji's got Andrade next, that should be a banger match. Whatever they decide to do with the other guys from the younger generation in New Japan to rise along with Tsuji, do that. But never do this one-on-one Jake Lee thing again. It just no.
Die to death here. But we've made it to the end of our review here. Let us know in the comment section, in the live chat, what you thought about the show. Give us your match of the night, your moment of the night, your MVP, your LVP, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? For me, NJ News, for NJPW, new beginning in Osaka 2026 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. Out of 10, what did you give this show, J News?
There were 2 blemishes on the show, so that's 2 points deducted. So the show gets an 8 out of 10.
That is exactly where I am at as well. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Match of the night, very obviously, it's the Knockout Brothers versus RoughStorm.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Can't disagree there.
MVP for the show. Who do you give it to, J News?
KOB.
Yeah, I will give it to KOB, and I would give it to David Finlay. I thought David Finlay did a masterful job, really kind of surmising his whole career in New Japan with the selfless performance that put over Callum Newman. And that was probably the most emotional I got through the night. The night I came into kind of prepared to say goodbye to Hiromu Takahashi, I wasn't prepared to say goodbye to David Finlay. So I'm going to remember that the most. So I got to give him some MVP love as well.
Yeah, I feel you.
LVP for the show. Who are you giving it to? Jake Lee, and I will give it to Gato for what he did to Aaron Wolf.
Gato gets it enough. So that's why I just won't get with Jake Lee. So.
Fair. That is fair. That is fair. We got in the chat a lot of thumbs up. We got a 7.5 from King of the North, 7 out of 10 from King Greg, 8 out of 10 from Big Man Dogs, and he's a hard critic. So that's a good grade from him and from us. He agrees with us with the grade. We got King of the North who says MVP to KOB for carrying Yuya Hendry. He hates Uemura and Shooter so much. It's hilarious. King Greg is the MVP to KOB, LVP to Aaron Wolf. I'm not going to give it to Aaron Wolf because he deserved better.
Yeah,
he deserved better. What was your moment of the night, J-News?
You know what? I'll go with the post match for the main event and how they wrapped everything up for Hiromu. I'll go with that as the moment of the night. Yeah.
I'll agree with you, but I'll take one specific moment. Yuto Ice crying for Hiromu's departure. That's my moment of the night. It would have been a David Finlay's farewell, but like I said, I gave David Finlay love for MVP, but Yuto crying was my moment of the night. But that brings us to the end for our NJPW, the New Beginning in Osaka 2026 review. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us live. Thank you if you're watching us on demand. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up, share this video, subscribe if you are new. We got full New Japan coverage on the way. We're going to be reviewing the New Beginning in USA. We're going to give you a preview and review for that show later this month. We also got our preview and review for the anniversary show for the New Japan Cup as well. So be on the lookout for that. Great time to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified because no other channel is covering New Japan Pro Wrestling quite like us. And of course, I do that because of my good brother here, the expert who's been a fan for 40 years of New Japan Pro Wrestling, J-News. Let the people know where they can follow you on social media and when they shall see you again.
You guys can follow me on social media on the Twitter machine, John LYFNMG. Follow me on Instagram, _JONJY. You can see me every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the lovely Dolores on the Hit the Ropes podcast on our respective YouTube channels. You can see me here again on True Heel Heat this Friday as we do the preview for AEW's Grand Slam Australia. And as SP3 said, you'll see me for previews and reviews of different things. I think that me and SP3 will probably do Fantastica Mania, a review over for the Patreon. So we'll get that wrapped up for you guys as well, because they shortened the tour this year, so it's not going to be that much for us to go over. And yeah, I'll be here for New Beginning preview, New Beginning in the USA preview and review, and we'll probably end up previewing the New Japan Cup is in April, isn't it?
It's in March.
Okay, so yeah, then we'll end up previewing the New Japan Cup by the end of the month and stuff like that. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah, we'll be back. We'll probably do for Patreon and members Fantastica Mania. Now that I'm a CMLL subscriber, I'm into Fantastica Mania even more because I can't wait for Mystico and Saburano Jr. after the banger they had at the end of last year. Oh, give me that. Or last month. Oh, give me that. I can't wait for that matchup on this tour. So I'm looking forward to that. So me and J-News will team up for that. So hit the join button, $1 a month makes you a member. Go to patreon.com/Trill Heat, $3 a month gets you exclusive content just like that and GOAT match series. So be on the lookout for that. Like J-News said, we'll be back together on Friday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time for our AEW Grand Slam Australia preview. Myself, J-News, and Maggie will be back on the channel to preview the big show this coming Saturday. Check out True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment, where we got our Scream 1 review as we're reviewing every single Scream movie, me and Stat King, ahead of Scream 7 coming up on February 27, the same day as New Beginning USA. But for J-News, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been our NJPW, the New Beginning in Osaka 2026 review. Goodbye, Hiromu Takahashi, or see you later, Hiromu Takahashi. But goodbye and best wishes to David Finlay. We'll miss you.
Bye-bye.
Later, y'all.